Hello, we're here at the kitchen table. My name is Collis Temple. I'm a national sales director, and we're here with our trainee, Elise, who went to school with Terrellyn Harris. Terrellyn's husband is Charles Harris. They're the client, and we're very excited about getting the opportunity to go through our kitchen table and see how we can help the Harris family from a financial perspective. So we'll get right into it. Charles and Terrellyn, we appreciate you guys giving us an opportunity to come talk to you. Elise probably let you know over the phone while we're here, but I just love to go through the 4 reasons why we're here, because everybody's always kind of thinking about that when we first sit down. So the first thing is that she's in training, okay? So the more questions you have, that's a better experience it'll be for her, okay? So, any questions you have, please let me know, because she'll be taking notes and writing down questions throughout this time, okay? The second reason we're here is my job in working with her is to help her build a business. So we're expanding. We're looking for people that might be interested in making an extra $400 to $500 a week, working an extra 8 to 10 hours a week part-time. Maybe you know some people that have that business entrepreneurship, spirit. They just don't have the money. We're looking for them as well, okay? So we're always looking for folks, to help her build her team. And then the third thing is you will definitely know some people that benefit from something we talk about. And so you can, put us in touch with some of those folks as we go through the process, as you start hearing us talk about some things that could benefit some family and friends that you have. And then the last thing is you guys may say, you know what, we need this. And if that's the case, we'll talk about it when we get to it. Does that make sense? Yeah. All right. So like I said, I really appreciate it. And remember, the more engaged and the more questions you have, the better experience it'll be for Elise, okay?
Okay,
so,
no problem.
Getting into it, what do y'all do for a living now?
I'm adoption, work in child protection.
Okay, great. Okay, so that's obviously something. I mean, what do you love about it?
I love helping children.
Helping people, obviously. So you love helping people. That's great, Terrellyn. How long have you been doing it for?
I've been doing this for 18 years.
Okay, wow. Okay, all right. You don't look like you've been doing anything 18 years. That's amazing. Okay. Charles, what about you?
I'm actually in child protection.
As well?
Social
okay,
work.
Social work. Okay, all right.
And I coach high school basketball.
You coach on the side.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you like the most about, working in child protection?
Just kind of making a difference.
Making a difference.
Taking children out of abusive situations.
Okay.
Obviously building young men with the coaching aspect.
Right. Okay, that's phenomenal. Let me ask y'all, what is it, if anything, that y'all would do differently? I mean, that y'all don't like as much about what you do for a living. What are some of the challenges you face? Some of the things you don't like?
Money.
The money. You don't quite make enough, right?
I don't make enough.
It's amazing, some of the things that make the most difference, they don't make enough money.
No.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So you'd make more money.
No,
all right.
yeah.
Okay. Well, let me ask y'all, we believe that freedom is about quality of life. And quality of life comes down to how much time do you have, how much money do you make. Would y'all agree with that? Yeah. I've been in Primerica for about 12 years, and I've never met anyone who complained about having too much time and too much money. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
So the way we make our money, Charles, it usually determines our quality of life.
Okay.
And we talk about the cash flow quadrant. When you look at this cash flow quadrant, there's employee, self-employed, business owner, investor. However you make your money, would you agree that normally would kind of control your quality of life?
Okay.
As an employee, how much real control do you normally have over when you work and how much you make?
None.
None,
You don't
right?
have no
You don't have a lot of control. You just kind of got to be okay with that, right?
Yes.
Right.
Then self-employed, doctor, lawyer, dentist, hairstylist. These people usually make a lot more what?
Money.
More money. But in order for them to make more money, they got to take more what?
Time.
Time. So it's like a seesaw,
Yeah, that makes
right? And that's 90+% of the United States, right? But it's only about 10% of the money in the United States.
Wow.
On the other side, a business owner has a system. Other people working with them, other people working around them. They can make an unlimited amount of money because they found a way to duplicate themselves through people and a system. So, think about it. Even when they're not physically there, they have free time, but they can still make a lot of what? Money.
Right.
As an investor, you get your money to work for you. Your money can always work a lot harder for you than you can work for it if it's in the right place. But because we live in such a financially illiterate society, most people don't know where the right places are.
Right.
There's a lot of different places, but most people don't know where they are. It's just, 90% of the money is here, but only about 10% of people. All things being equal, Charles Terrellyn, what side looks like it'd be the most attractive?
Right.
The right side. That's what everybody says. Everybody says they'd rather be on the right side. See, everybody says they'd rather be on the right side, right, Elise? Okay. So, what I want to do is show you who we are as a company and how we possibly can help aid you all in maybe making that move, starting the process of moving to that right side. Would that be something y'all might be interested in?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe we'll take a look at what you're talking
Okay,
about.
all right, that'd be good. So let me ask you, right now, Charles, are y'all kind of changing gears? Do y'all have a written game plan that y'all are following to be able to, at some point, not have to work anymore? Or do y'all guys got a vague idea? Most people I sit down with, they just kind of had a vague idea, but they don't have a written game plan they're following. Do you have a game plan, or y'all like most people?
No, we probably like most people.
Okay.
Not nothing written down.
Okay.
No.
All right, but you got an idea, but just nothing
Yeah,
written.
yeah,
Okay.
we come
All
to
right.
this.
So let me ask you this: if we could help give you all a written game plan, would that be something y'all might be interested in?
Yeah, we'll take a look at
Okay,
that.
that's good. That's good. So as we get into it, I already told you the 4 reasons that we're here, but there's 3 things I want you to focus on, and the first one is the credibility of our company. So I know that Elite, you're here because of your relationship with Elise, okay?
Right.
But one of the things I want to make sure we do, that if anything further than this conversation today was going to take place, that the credibility of the company, that y'all were solid in who we are as a company. So we'll talk about that first, okay? The second thing are the financial concepts, and if what we do makes that big of a difference. Because if you were going to get involved in anything further than just your relationship with Elise, I'm assuming that would be of huge importance, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And the last thing, who you know and care about, once again, that benefits from meeting with us. For instance, every time I sit down with folks, what they always do is they say, okay, well, you need to talk to such and such. You need to talk to such and such as we're going through it, because some of these concepts are a lot of times things that we deal with on a regular basis. So let me ask you a question. First names only, okay? First names only. Who can y'all think of that has children 18 or under that would love to send those kids to college? First names only. Who can y'all think of?
What about Kelly?
Kelly, okay, great. Who else?
Chris?
Chris, okay. Who else? Maria, okay. All right. Anybody else? Young kids?
Young kids? you mean?
Yeah, kids 18 or younger. All right, well, what about this? What about people that you know that would love to be able to retire before they're 65, whether they have young kids or not? Who can you think of?
Oh, that's everybody. man.
Okay, of course. So you give me a couple of names of some of those folks.
Latray.
Okay. Anybody else?
Taylor.
Taylor, okay. Great. Well, what we'll do, Yvette, okay. All right, what we'll do is this. If we go through this presentation and you guys see a lot of value, like I know you will, then we can put last names and phone numbers to this, and we can see if we can help some of those people. If not, we can throw this in the trash. Is that fair enough?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, great. Well, let's get into it. First of all, we talked about the credibility of the company, right? Primerica is a marketing company, okay? All right, we're like the Walmart of financial services, one-stop financial shop. You can come to Primerica, and everything on this side of the Primerica logo is about wealth accumulation. All the different companies we work with on that side are about wealth accumulation. Everything on the other side is about wealth preservation. All right, so we work with a bunch of different companies in terms of helping people accumulate wealth and invest their money, but we also work with companies, debt management services, legal protection, long-term care, all of these different things, okay? And Primerica actually, Charles and Terrellyn, is the largest independent financial service marketing organization in North America, okay? Over 100,000 licensed representatives. All right, listed on New York Stock Exchange. Our stock symbol is PRI. We have more than 2 million investment clients with nearly $50 billion invested. We have over 4 million life insurance clients paying nearly $3 million every day in claims. Now let me ask you all a question. Think about it. We've been named one of America's 50 most trustworthy financial companies by Forbes. And we don't do any TV or radio.
Yeah, I was going to mention, I hadn't seen you guys on television or anything like that.
Right, so you've never seen, and guess what? You wouldn't. All right? There are companies that spend hundreds of millions of dollars just on TV advertising, but Primerica, instead of using TV advertising, they pay us.
Okay.
Right? Now, I'm going to be honest. Elise and I would rather them pay us to put it on TV. All right?
Sure.
All right? And think about it. How many times have you seen a TV commercial and you said, man, I need to do that, and then you never really got back around till you changed the channel to something else and you never followed through?
Right.
It's kind of tough to change the channel on us right now. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Right. So that's one of the reasons why we've been able to grow the way we have, because we've been around since 1977, and we still are the largest independent financial service marketing organization with no TV or radio. It's pretty powerful, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, that's
So that's who we are as a company from a credibility perspective. But let's talk about the next part, which is what we do for people. See, Charles, our mission is real simple. Would you agree in the United States there are folks who are wealthy?
Yeah, obviously.
Right. They get assistance from the government, right? All right.
No,
No, actually, you got wealthy, you got poverty, and you got middle America. Right. Folks that are in poverty, a lot of times they get some form of what?
Government assistance.
Some form of assistance, right? At the same time, there are folks who are wealthy. Do they need assistance?
No, not really.
Listen, whether you think they need assistance or not, a lot of times they get it. Big investment companies focus on people a lot of times that have accumulated wealth already, right?
Okay.
Then you got middle America. Who's really helping middle America?
Nobody.
Who's helped y'all?
Us.
You come up with yourself, right?
Right.
All right. So if that's 90% of the United States, and that's who we focus on, they deserve some assistance. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, they do.
And our mission is simple, Charles: help people earn more income, become properly protected, debt-free, financially independent. Right here. All right. Now we believe that the first step in doing any of that is teaching people how money works. You can't do better unless you what?
No better.
Unless you know better.
Yeah.
Right. Financial literacy is the first point of focus for us. The next thing, Mr. and Mrs. Harris, is helping people get a financial game plan. Right? Because you think about it, in today's time, right, nobody really asks for directions. Right? All we do is we ask for what? The address, and we get GPS, right? Imagine if you had a financial GPS that gave you turn-by-turn guidance to get where you said you wanted to go.
Would be pretty cool.
And then we offer the products and services that help make that a reality, because GPS is great, but if I'm walking, it's going to take a long time, right?
Right.
So we have the financial vehicle through our products and services. We got the financial plan through our financial needs analysis, and we offer the knowledge based on just financial education. And we put all that together to give people an opportunity. Because when I ask folks on a scale of 1 to 10, Charles, 10 being the highest, how they rate their desire to be debt-free and financially independent, right, properly protected. Taylor, what do you think everybody always says?
10.
Everybody says a 10. Everybody says a 10 when I ask that question, right? And so think about it. Do you think that, for the most part, banks care if you put money in mutual funds so your kids can go to college?
No.
No. Do you think life insurance companies care if you pay the house off? Do the credit card companies care if you pay the car off? No, everybody's focused on who? Themselves.
Themselves.
Right? And that's business, right? They're not really worried about who? You, unless you don't pay them on what? On time, exactly. Right. So when we sit down with folks, we just ask them a really simple question. The same question you'd ask me, Terrell, if I was lost trying to get here. If I called Terrell, this is Elise and Collis. We're trying to get to the house, but GPS is broken. What's the first question you're going to ask me? Where are you? That's what we ask. Where are you right now? We ask folks, where are you in terms of saving for yourself and your kids? Where are you in terms of getting out of debt so you can save more money? Better protecting what you make, better managing what you make, because most people make enough. They just don't manage it real well. Then we ask, where do you want to go? What are your goals and dreams? What are you trying to accomplish? And we put that financial GPS in place to get them from where they are now to where they say they want to go. Most companies charge $500 to maybe $1,500 for some form of something, financial game plan. We do it, what does that say right there?
Complimentary.
Complimentary for every person who becomes a client of ours. It's confidential, okay, obviously because of the seriousness of what we do, and it's totally customized. It's totally customized. Now, do you think that that's probably pretty necessary?
Yeah.
Yeah. We believe most people don't plan to fail, they just fail to what?
Plan.
They fail to plan. You've heard that before, right?
Yeah.
The unfortunate reality, you all, 90% of Americans, dead broke, still having to work when they're 65 years old.
Wow.
You think that was part of the plan? No, but the problem was they didn't what? Plan. They didn't plan. Right? All right. So what we do is we help people, and a lot of times people think that $1 million is going to be a lot of money at retirement. But we'll show you how, it probably won't be quite what you think it would be.
Right.
And why you need at least that, which in order to accumulate that, most people need some form of a what? Plan. So we'll help put a plan in place, okay? See, some of the things that we realize as a company is that when we sit down with people a lot of times, they really are in a situation where they are lost financially when we sit down with them. And so some of the things that we do are we make sure that people are putting themselves in a position to be a little bit better off, okay? Let's talk about some of the statistics that you may have seen in the United States, okay? Listen, look at this. Half of Americans have less than $500 in savings. Half Americans have less than $500 in savings. 31% of Americans have, no retirement savings at all. Nothing, okay? Half of Americans have less than $25,000 in some form of investment or retirement. 95 million Americans have no personal life insurance. We'll talk about that in a second. And then you look at the average American credit card debt, almost $16,000 per household. Now, I know y'all probably not dealing with any of these issues, but a lot of people are. A lot of your friends are. Some of those people you may have named on that may be dealing with some of that.
We dealing with some of that too.
Okay, all right. 2/3 of people live paycheck to paycheck in the United States.
Wow.
Right? Yeah. So when we sit down with people, we want to remedy some of these things.
Okay.
Right? We want to help remedy some of these things. So think about it. When we get our money, where do we normally put it if we're trying to do better and not waste it?
In the bank.
In the bank. Does the bank pay us a lot of money or a little bit of money?
No money.
Hardly anything, right? All right. But when the money's reinvested by that institution, do you think that they make a little bit of money or no money? Or do you think they make a lot of money?
They probably make a lot
They
of money.
make a lot more than we make, right? If we can show people how to redirect their money to the global economy and take advantage of these better rates of return that exist in the global economy, wouldn't that be a lot better?
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you, Charles Terlin, I had an undergrad degree, I had a master's degree, I was actually working on a PhD. I had never heard of the next concept I'm gonna tell you about, but it made all the difference in the world. All right, and I don't want you to think about it. It's called the Rule of 72. Y'all familiar with it? I had never heard of it before. Y'all not familiar with it either?
No,
Okay.
I never heard.
Elise didn't know either. I wouldn't be, Elise went to Georgia, so I wasn't surprised that Elise didn't know it. But I went to LSU. I thought I would know it. But the Rule of 72, when you look at this, it talks about based on where you put your money, and all it says is based on where you put your money. How long does it take for the money to double in value? So that's pretty important to know. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how old is y'all's youngest? Y'all's youngest child is 11. So I want you to think about 11 years ago. You got $10,000 and it was put in an account gaining 3%. The Rule of 72 is going to show how long it takes for the money to double. All right. Now, 3 goes into 72 24 times. So that means when your child turned 24, the 10,000 will be what?
20,000.
20. By the time that child was 48, it'd be what?
40,000.
That's almost 50 years. Is 40,000 exciting after 50 years?
No, that's too long.
That's not exciting at all, right?
That's a real
But
long time.
I don't know a whole lot of banks averaging 3% though. Barely averaging 1. Think about this, Charles. 1 goes into 72 what? 72 times. That means that money would take 72 years. I mean, 10,000 would be 20,000 in what? 72 years.
Wow. Well, we don't even get 1% at the bank.
So you don't even get that, right? If we doubled the rate of return, logic says the money would do what? It should double. That's what I thought, right? But see, 6 goes into 72 12 times. So it doubles every 12 years. So you see now the money doubles, and it quadruples in value. It didn't double, it quadrupled. It went from 40,000, instead of 80, it's 160. If we put it at 12%, it doubles every what? 6 years. Charles, the same 10,000 is $2.5 million.
Wow. Now that looks pretty.
Where would you rather have your money if you had a choice between those 3? That's pretty obvious, right?
Yeah.
All right. And so, the bottom line is all we do is show people this and help them understand that, there are places that get better rates of return than where they have their money right now.
So let me make sure I understand. So you're saying that it's places that I can get that type of rate of return on our money?
There are places where you can get a much better rate of return than you're getting in the bank.
Okay.
Right. For instance, I know I didn't know this. So I can be honest. We open up our iPhones and we're looking at a lot of different things. But on the iPhone, if you look at the stock app, you can see the Dow Jones, right? The S&P 500, the Nasdaq. I didn't know what any of that meant. Okay. Wow. All right. But the S&P 500, watch this. S&P, Standard & Poor's, right? It rates the top 500 companies in the United States. McDonald's, Walmart, Walt Disney, Exxon, Dow, Johnson & Johnson, Microsoft, Google, Coca-Cola. Have y'all heard of any of those companies?
No, I've seen that deal on the news.
You've seen it before, right?
Okay.
Right, but think about this. The S&P 500 has an average from 1984 to 2014, it's averaged 11.33%. Did you know that?
No.
What if you could take advantage of something like that?
That'd be pretty cool.
Right, that's pretty amazing, right? It's been up, it's been down, but it's average 11.33.
Did you know Elise was coming to talk about this?
No,
That's
not this.
amazing.
No, right. See? So all we do is we expose people to that fact and we help them understand that they have access to it. Now, let me help you. The unfortunate reality about what I just said is that, according to Smart Money Magazine, most people that don't have $100,000, $200,000, $250,000, they do not have access to companies that'll help them with that type of stuff, right? But Primerica focuses on helping folks that may not necessarily have that kind of money, right?
Okay.
All right, so we have clients that invest $50 a month or $15,000 a month. It just depends on that person, right? Now let me show you, because you might not have 200,000, Charles and Terlin, but do most people weigh $7 a day?
Yes.
Yeah, see, $7 a day is $200 a month. $200 a month during a person's working lifetime at 3%, look at that, $160,000. But if we took the same $200 a month, same $7 a day, and put it at 9%, $700,000.
Wow.
See, I told you they'd like this, Elise, okay? See, compound interest is the most powerful force in the universe. Albert Einstein was pretty smart according to what everybody said. And that's a quote from him in relation to this information. Now, how powerful is that?
real problem. I have to get her to stop wasting $7.
There you go. Right. I know you don't waste any, right?
Yeah, I guess I do.
Okay. So we'll get to that in a second. We'll get to that in a second.
She wastes more.
Okay. All right. That's normally the case. All right. So think about it. So we obviously got that, but Charles, we also show folks that we can help them accelerate and get out of debt as well, right? Accelerate their debt and strengthen and improve their credit score. We got a program called Debt Watchers that we work with a company called Equifax, okay?
Oh, yeah,
And through that program, look, this person had a 620 credit score. We showed them how to get it to 720. Now they had a mortgage, car, home equity loan, credit card, auto insurance. Look, based on that them shifting their credit score from 620 to 720, that's $5,000 in potential annual savings.
Right,
Now, they can do whatever they want to do with that money, right?
right.
What do you think we suggest they do with that money?
Probably put it with that other deal.
Invest, yeah, exactly. And that 9%, that's $900,000 at retirement. That's on top of that other $700,000 from the $7 a day, right? Mm-hmm. Think about it. This person here, a couple credit cards, car, mortgage, right? They were going to spending $2,700 every month, right? Every month on their debt, okay? They were going to be in debt for 23 more years if they kept going the way they were going, okay? Weren't going to save any money on interest. Look how much interest they're going to pay. $214,000 in interest, and that's money that's just what? Gone. 23 years, $214,000. We took the same $2,700 a month, and by showing them a better way, showing them our debt stacking program, we were able to get them out of debt in 9 years. We were able to literally save them over $130,000 in interest dollars. And look at that, $2,700 a month. Same money every month. But once they're out of debt, a lot sooner, what can they do with that money, you all? Invest it. They can invest it at 9%. If they waited until Social Security age 67 and they were 35 when they got started, that's a couple $1 million. Yeah. That's on top of the money we helped them from the credit situation, right? Mm-hmm. That's on top of the money they were saving with the $7 a day. So you see how it can add up, right?
This is some pretty good information.
This is some great information, wouldn't you say? So we help people with that. We also help people with car insurance. We work with a great program, Answer Financial. It offers 20, 25 different companies nationally. All right, all of them A+ rated companies. And look, every little bit helps. If you can call a phone number and save $40, $50 a month, would that make a difference?
Oh, yeah.
Huge difference, right? So we can help people with that, and it's a phone call. I mean, Elise will give you something, as we're leaving to make sure we get that number called and see if you can save some money, okay? If so, great. If not, great. We'll keep on moving with some other stuff, right? We help people from a legal protection perspective, all right? Most middle American families I sit down with, they don't have a will in place, all right? Now, this legal protection program offers you access to a will. It offers you access to a lot of different things. Let me ask you, God forbid, if something happened to both of y'all at the same time, who's going to take care of your children? And that's exactly what happens. Right? Yeah, but you don't have it written down anywhere, right?
No.
And I know they're the most important people in your life.
Yeah,
right? So this legal protection program would help you not only get a will, but power of attorney, 11 different services that would give you access to a respected law firm in your area to see, God forbid, if something did happen, that's one thing you wouldn't have to worry about. Okay? All right, and then let's talk, the last thing we're going to talk about today, for the sake of time, is really how we lay a foundation for everything else, okay? For instance, we talk about laying a foundation, Charles. When you build the house, the first thing you better do is what? Put the foundation, right? And it's not usually the thing that people that people compliment about, but if it's not in place, you're going to have a problem. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Okay? Life insurance is your financial foundation, okay? Outside of you all's job, do y'all have any personal life insurance in place right now?
Yeah, we got some insurance.
Great. Okay. All right. Let me ask you.
Life insurance, right?
Yeah, life insurance.
Yeah, we
You do have some.
Yeah,
Okay. Good. How long have y'all had it for?
2 years, 3 years.
2 years. Okay. All right. So can you go grab that right quick? Can you go grab that right quick?
She might know where.
All right. So you know where it is?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So she goes, gets it. All right. So great. All right. Now, did y'all buy this for protection purposes, or did y'all buy this for investment purposes? What was the main reason for y'all buying this?
Kind of both. The guy was talking about, some savings I can be able to get some money when I get a little older.
Okay. Okay. All right. Great. First of all, I want to commend you that you have something in place. Okay. But as we asked earlier, if I could put you in a position, Charles, where your family might be able to have more coverage for the same or less money, or we might better get a better rate of return where you have more money down the road, when you get to retirement. Is that something y'all would be interested in, Terrell and Charles?
Oh, definitely. We wanna look
Okay,
at that, yeah.
great. Okay, great. So as of now, according to this, y'all right now have this much in place, all right? We'll be able to put this much coverage in place for you guys, okay? All right? And we'll be able to show you how to take some of this money that you're not spending and put it somewhere else, somewhere like we were talking about gaining those better rates of return, right?
Okay.
All right? So let me show you this right quick. I think this is something that y'all will be very, very, very interested to find out, Charles. There are two basic types of life insurance, okay? There's a lot of different types, but, there's a camp of cash value camp, okay? Whole life, universal life, variable life, adjustable life, a couple different things. And then there's really that camp of buying term and investing. All right? Our mentality is buy term and invest, okay? For instance, look at this example right here, John and Mary. All right? When it comes to life insurance, the mentality is this. If John's making $30,000 a year, okay? All right? If John's making $30,000 a year and Mary's making $30,000 a year, how much are they living on?
60.
All the money and then some, right? And every month, what are they paying for? They're paying for mortgage, cars, debts, bills, kids, food, taxes, insurance, other stuff, right?
Right.
And if John passes away, what's going with him?
His income.
His income, right? So can they keep living the same lifestyle with half the money?
No.
No. So rule of thumb when it comes to life insurance, Charles and Terrell, just to put a basic thing out there, if we got 10 times the coverage, usually you'll be in a position where you'll be okay? So if we got $300,000 here, okay, if we had $300,000 in life insurance and John passed away, all right, Mary and the kids are still there. They take that life insurance money, they invest it. And if they just live off the interest, live off the money the money's making, that will replace John's income, right? And it'll put them in a position where financially their lifestyle doesn't fall off the map when John passes away. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's the purpose of life insurance, okay? Now, think about this. If John and Mary, in this example right here, had $150,000 each, and they had cash value, some form of cash value, they're paying almost $300 a month, $285 for $300,000. You see this client here, John had $150,000, Mary had $150,000, $300,000 total coverage. We were able to take John and Mary and give them $400,000 each for a total of $800,000 in coverage, all right, for less money. Now, if we could do something similar to this for you all, would y'all be possibly interested in that?
Yeah, we definitely.
Yeah, okay. And then you see we took some of the money that they weren't spending on the insurance, and what do we do with it here? We invested it, right? And they had a nice little amount of money later down the road. All right? So that's our focus. All right? That's our focus, to see how we can show you how to buy a term and invest the difference. All right? Because right now, Charles, you all are spending enough money, okay? All right? But we might be able to just use that money even better.
Okay.
All right, think about it. And then we also do custom coverage, which is different from us, and not just any cash value company, but term companies. All right, for instance, what we've used to help customize people's coverage is what we call the DIME principle. Charles and Terrell, think about this, DIME, D-I-M-E. All right, D stands for paying off whatever debts and final expenses, death, okay, whatever debts you all may have. I is income replacement, which we'll talk about in a second. M for the mortgage, and E for the children's education. All right, now y'all have made clear to me that y'all's children, you want to pay for them to go to college if something were to happen, right?
Yeah.
All right, so that's important. So, average public university, 70,000, we'll make sure we knock that out, okay? Your mortgage, we want to make sure we got enough in place to take care of that as well, right? So it's not left as a burden.
Right.
Is that something y'all are interested in?
Yes.
Okay, great, all right. And debts, we want to make sure that if something happened, we can pay those debts off. How much do you have in debt right now? Give me that number, okay. Great, all right, and final expenses. And then, of course, income. So outside of all that other stuff, all right, and Terrell, and God forbid if Charles passed away, you're still working, and all these things are taken care of. But there probably would still be a little bit of a gap that would need to be filled, right? Mm-hmm. Based on that, how much a month would need to come in to just fill that gap every month? 1,000, 1,500, how much would you say? Charles, how much would you want, maybe?
Probably about 1,500.
About 1,500, okay?
You mean if the other stuff?
Right, so the education, college is paid for, the mortgage paid off. Terrell's still working, okay, so you're still bringing your income in, but there is no debt. All the debts are paid off, final expenses paid for. In addition to all that being taken care of, another $1,500 a month coming in.
Yeah.
That's okay. All right, so we make sure that we put enough in place to 1,500 times 12 months. All right, great. So, it's 18,000, and we're going to put about 10 times that in place. So we've got enough in place to pay off the kids' education for college, pay off the mortgage, pay off the debt, provide for the final expenses, and provide $1,500 a month coming in. That'd be pretty good, right?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay, great. And that's more than the coverage you had before, right?
Yeah, and they didn't talk about any of that.
And they didn't break it down like this, right? No. And so we want you to think about this. Obviously, that's great. But even with that going on, Charles, think about it. At the end of the day, when we're tying this all together, we want you to see this, okay? It's called the theory of decreased responsibility. It kind of ties everything we've talked about this evening together. See, Charles, most folks have kids, debt, and a mortgage. You know what they don't have a lot of?
Money.
They don't have, right, $400,000 to $800,000 in cash. Mm-hmm. That's why they need what right now?
Insurance.
Life insurance right now. Right. So a loss does not leave them financially what? Devastated. Mm-hmm. But we're going to also lay out, in addition to the insurance, an overall what? Plan, right? So over the next 10, 12, 15, 20, 30 years, the money that they don't have right now in a lump sum, what do we help them do with that money, Charles?
Put it away.
Accumulate it so they have money, right? Kids are grown and gone, debt's paid off, the mortgage is paid off, they've been following the plan. Do they necessarily need as much life insurance at this point in their life? Not necessarily, right? Right? They may want it for some other reasons, but they don't necessarily what? Need it. And now they can focus on enjoying financial what? What does it say here? Choices. Most people don't have choices, not because they're bad people, but because they just don't have what? The money. And the reason they don't have the money and the choices is because they didn't have a what? They didn't have a plan. So if we could help give them a plan, which in essence could give them more money down the road and put them in a position to have better choices, I'm assuming that will be something that anyone would be interested in, right?
Yeah, we definitely
So
would.
obviously we've been talking in generalities during the presentation, but let me ask you an even more specific question. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, how would you all rate your personal desire to be debt-free, properly protected, financially independent? How would you rate your personal desire?
20.
20. That's great. Yeah. So let me ask you, what you're telling me, Charles and Terrell, is as long as it's legal, moral, and ethical, there's really nothing that you would allow to stop you and your family from accomplishing what you need to do to get to that goal. Would you say that?
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Well, let me ask you another specific question. We talked about most people saving $7 a day during the presentation, wasting $7 a day. How much would you say that you spend unnecessarily, all right, that could be redirected towards us helping you hit this goal of becoming a 20 on a scale of 1 to 10 when it comes to your finances? Now, think about it. Gas, you got to drive, all right? Foods, you got to eat, but you don't have to eat out as much. So, Terrell, how much would you say that maybe you kind of know you could redirect towards, this program on a daily basis that you waste? A lot. Okay. Let's be specific. 5, 10, $15 a day. How much?
15. About
15. Okay. You think 15. All right. So you could do 10. Charles is saying you could do more. Okay. But if you say 15, you could do 10 a day, right?
I can.
Okay. You could do 10. All right. Because is it important? Obviously, if you're at 20, it's really important, right?
Yes.
Charles, how much would you say that let go?
I mean, I don't do a whole lot.
You don't do a whole lot of spending?
5 or 10 dollars.
5.
Yeah.
Okay, 5. So we're going to go with the lower number. She said 15, we're going to go with 10. You said 10, and we're going to go with 5.
You're saying like every day, man?
Every day.
Yeah, 5 or 10.
Okay, so let's go with the low end, 5. So think about it. That's $15 a day between the both of you all. Mm-hmm. Okay? All right. Now you also remember you've got this money from this life insurance policy over here that we've shown that we can do more coverage for a lesser amount. Okay? Right. And so $15 a day though times 30 days in a month is what? That's $450 a month.
Right.
Right? So if we could use some of that money that you're already spending on your insurance, and we could use this money that you're wasting, because you said 15 and we're using 10, you said 10 and we're using 5, so that's $450 plus the other money, we could be in a position where we really could make something happen. Would y'all agree?
I agree.
Yeah, okay. So what we've done now is we've gotten a commitment amount from Charles and Terrell, all right? Charles was talking about a certain number, and I downplayed a little bit. Terrell was talking about a certain number. We downplayed a little bit. So it's an amount of money that they're comfortable moving with. Plus, they also already had life insurance. So now we've got a great commitment amount that we can get the process started to put them in a better situation. At this point, though, we're going back to them to really give them what we're here to talk to them about, which is trying to see if we can get them involved in our business with us. So Charles and Terry, obviously, we've put a great program in place for you all, okay? This is something that y'all are really excited about.
Yeah,
We've
really
let you know that, that the pyramid exam will be out. The company will be in touch with you to help take care of some of that stuff right away. And we'll be obviously back in touch to even help set up everything from a retirement perspective and even start the education accounts for the kids, okay? But, I want to show you, and we talked about this. Remember, the second reason we were here is to see if you'd be interested in earning extra income, or if you know someone who'd be interested in earning extra income. And we talked about the right side or the left side of that quadrant. Remember, and you said if all things were equal, you'd rather be on the left side, right? I mean, on the right side. You'd rather be on the right side. Business owner, right? Investor. And so think about it. With our company, part-time. Now we've been in here for what? How long have we been talking for?
30 minutes.
What, 30, 45 minutes, right? And so just think about this. Had you been a district leader, okay, who sat down with someone and were able to help them like we just helped you all right? As a district leader helping in these areas, how much would that district leader have made right here, all right? $1,500. Now they might not do all of the different things, right? They might not, they might not do all of that. But if we could put you in a position where in that 30 to 45 minutes, maybe an hour, at the most an hour and a half, you could generate an extra $400 or $500 on the low end and possibly end up being something like this, would that be something y'all might be interested in?
Yeah.
Could I borrow him for 8 to 10 hours a week if we could help generate that into the household?
Oh, yeah.
Right. Because think about it. If we're talking about $400 or $500, that could be an extra $1,500 to $2,000 a month part-time. And it could obviously, based on what you see here, be significantly more, right?
Right.
All right. So that would be worth your time if we didn't go any further. But the potential exists to become what we call a regional vice president. See, Charles, as an RVP, you're on a higher contract. Okay, and so doing the same thing that the district leader made $1,500 doing, how much would the RVP make?
They make a lot more, 3,000.
About 3,000.
Right.
Okay, now that's even better, right? I know that's worth your time, but think about it. Let's say that you were the RVP. You recruited me, you trained me, you developed me. All right, thanks to your expertise and my effort, I earned a district leader promotion on your team. All right, so I'm excited. I go sit down with John and Mary. And I help them get a better financial plan. Are John and Mary going to be excited?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited because as a district leader, I just made what? $1,500. Now, you as the RVP, Charles, had you gone and seen John and Mary, how much would you have made in this example?
3,000.
About 3,000. But were you there? No, you weren't there. You weren't there. All right? But I was there. And who trained me, Charles? You did. Right. You trained me.
Right.
And so they're going to pay you the difference in what I made and what you would have made, even though you weren't what? There.
Right.
All right? Remember that business owner is that you get people, system, right? So look, that's $1,500 and you weren't even what? There. Right? Charles, what if you had 10 people on your team like me? What's 10 times 1,500? 15,000. Right. So I know that's worth your time, right? Now, once again, I'm not telling you that we'll get to that point, that you'll get to that point, but the possibility exists, right? And even if it's just an extra $400 to $500 a week, would that be pretty good?
Yeah,
that would be.
That'd be great.
All right. So what we need to do is that we need to get things going. Okay. All right. So we're going to start your investment next week, your retirement program next week, next month rather. So what we need to do is why don't we go on and help you get going by taking care of your IBA. Okay, taking care of your IBA fee, okay? And we can get that process going. And we also want to make sure we invite you down to our opportunity meeting at the office, all right? What do y'all normally got going on Tuesday evenings? Most Tuesdays we're free? Great. Okay, well, we can get you down to the office, and, you can kind of see the experience. Because once again, Charles, you mentioned at the very beginning, you never seen a commercial, right? But if you come in and you see our office, and I think that'll help even more. Okay. All right. So I know y'all pretty excited about Elise and what she's brought to you today, right?
No, it's
okay.
Really good.
Good.
Great information.
So what we've done, you all, is that we've put them in a position now where they're in a better situation financially, but we also offer them a great opportunity to earn extra income and put themselves in a position where they can hit some of their goals and dreams, not only from a financial perspective, but all the way around. Thanks for spending some time with us.